Hey guys, today we're gonna have some fun with a great riff by Herbie Hancock called Wiggle Waggle. So basically all it is just one riff and you can go all Hendrix on it and do whatever you want, right? Let's start with the basic notes. Here they are. We're in the key of B flat. And I use my thumb and not my index finger. Because number one, this is actually more comfortable, and number two, you can put those little improvisations in there later on. So first off, repeat. Now basically it's all downstrokes with the right hand, but there's one upstroke on the D string here. Upstroke and all downstrokes. Then repeat one string down, same thing. And here I am going to use an index finger because with the thumb on the A string, that's not comfortable at all. Then same thing, but now 2 frets down. Halfway, and then the last part back to the beginning. Here is the basic riff in its entirety. When you listen to the record, Wiggle Waggle by Herbie Hancock, it's just 5 minutes or maybe 6 minutes of just this riff and no Hendrix stuff and fancy licks or anything. It's just this lick and that's it. But if you play it just by yourself like I do today, with no backing track or anything, you want to use a bit of extra improvisations, right? And what better than Jimi Hendrix sort of stuff? So what we want to do is we want to play the riff, but this time using the Hendrix technique, which involves pressing down one string, muting the others, so we have that strong attack. Now let's see how I do that. With the thumb, I've got the other fingers standing by, touching the strings, muting the strings. And in this case, it's the middle finger that takes care of the A string. We don't want to hear that. So you want to first practice, see if you can do this. If in the beginning you have this, well, it doesn't really sound that bad when you press down the thumb and the index finger, so hey, that's okay. But that's normal. You do want to have eventually this one note. Then the slide. And here the thumb muting the bottom string, index finger just muting the other strings. And so on. Now, just because you can play loud doesn't mean you have to. You can use this technique and sort of play softly, save something for later on. And you notice, if I want to play soft using this technique, I tend to play a little bit to the left on the fretboard, which normally you don't want to do, but it has a certain sound that is kind of nice. So this here would be level 2. as soon as you can play that Hendrix technique, then you're ready to play some of those improvisations. And if you're anything like me, they're very much Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan like, right? That's what I like to do most of the time. Now, there isn't much time in this song to do anything because most of the time we're playing this lick, right? So what you want to do first is just sing the riff, and then when there's this little gap, see if you can play something in between. Using, I would suggest, the minor pentatonic scale in B flat. Don't do it again, don't do it again. Don't do it again. So just a little bit of time, and then you have to go back to the E, which is the challenge, because if you just play on your own and you go on, and you're just noodling away in nothing, right? So the key is to play something very quickly and go back to the riff, creating the illusion that there are two guitars playing. Now I suggest to first improvise something very simple. And so on. Now the other thing is, if you play there's this extra rhythm stuff going in between, which is also kind of nice. Now first you want to just see if you can create a sort of rhythm by just muting the strings. Now it's not a matter of just going up and down, because that's just a bit boring and way too much. So the trick is to create sort of rhythmic sort of patterns. You have to think like a drummer. Then add the riff and see if you can blend those two things together. Improvisations. It's challenging, it's fun, it's probably not for beginners, but well, on a Sunday evening and it's raining outside, you can grab your guitar and you can have a pretty good time playing this song. Now, I'll play a little bit this time slower. I'll first play the riff, then I'll add the rhythm, and then finally some improvisations. You can find the basic steps, by the way, on my Patreon site as always, and I will see you next time.